Moving out of your parents' home and getting your own apartment is supposed to be a time to rejoice. A moment in time of self-accomplishment and the true beginning of transitioning into adulthood. But for Savanna Greywind, it was the beginning of the end. At age 22, after living in the basement of her parents' home with her brother, she was ready to take a huge step forward and move into her first apartment with her boyfriend, Ashton Matheny. She was able to secure a job as a nursing assistant with a goal of eventually becoming a nurse that specialized in elder care. Things began to move quickly for the couple after the move, and by September, they were set to welcome an addition to their family in the form of a newborn baby girl. The apartment Savanna and her boyfriend lived in, however, was not without its drawbacks. The upstairs neighbors in particular, Brooke Cruz, age 38, and William Hohen, age 32, were a bothersome, loud, and violent couple known throughout the building for their explosive fights and confrontations. These fights could always be heard by Savanna and her boyfriend through the ceiling below. Their history with law enforcement was so extensive that neither of them were allowed to communicate or see their children from previous relationships. Brooke had actually been sued multiple times for not paying her child support. Savanna and her boyfriend only knew the couple in passing, but there had been enough contact for Brooke and her boyfriend to know that the couple downstairs were expecting. In January of 2017, after one of their many fights, William was ready to leave the toxic relationship. This is when Brooke told him that she was pregnant in a desperate attempt to get him to stay. But William would soon find out sometime later that this was all a lie. And in an enraged response, he ambiguously told her to produce a baby, or he would be gone for good. By August 19th of 2017, Savanna was now 8 months pregnant, and the day seemed as normal as any other. At some point, Brooke made her way to Savanna's apartment and asked her if she would model a dress she had made, offering her $20 in the exchange. Savanna, thinking nothing of a simple gesture, agreed. At 1:24 p.m., Savanna sent a text to her mother and boyfriend, explaining that she would be helping the upstairs neighbor out for a few minutes. When her mother, Norberta Greywind, responded to the text, she never received a response from her daughter. The boyfriend, Ashton, responded as well, but did not hear back from Savanna either. As they both continued their attempts to contact Savanna, time began to pass, and by 4 p.m., her mother, who was beyond worried at this point, decided to visit the upstairs neighbor apartment for herself to get some answers. As she knocked on the door, Brooke answered. After inquiring about her daughter, Brooke told her that she'd left earlier around 2:45 p.m. Confused by this, Norberta decided to contact the police around 4:30 p.m. and by 5 o'clock, Fargo PD officers were at the apartment building to investigate. Oddly enough, Savanna's car was still parked outside in her parking spot, and her purse was still sitting on the table in her apartment. So, where was she? After hearing the details from Norberta, police ended up searching the upstairs apartment twice that evening, but their searches turned up nothing, and the investigation continued on. Straddling the borders of North Dakota and Minnesota, the Red River empties into Lake Winnipeg, in Canada, sharing territories with the U.S., and is approximately 550 miles long, with around 395 miles residing within the United States, and the remaining 158 miles crossing into Canada. And on a late summer day in August of 2017, two people set out to kayak across the Red River, and as they made their way through the calm waters, they approached a log. But it was what was caught on the log that made their discovery a horror show. Caught on this log, tightly wrapped in plastic and duct tape, was a body. That body was confirmed to be that of Savanna Greywind. From the beginning, Brooke Cruz and her boyfriend, William Hohen, were the only suspects, yet they didn't have any evidence against them. That was until they visited the workplace of William, where his co-workers told them an interesting story. They informed the investigators that he'd recently took time away from work to care for his new baby. This was enough circumstantial evidence to acquire a warrant to search the upstairs apartment again. And this time, police found a healthy baby girl lying on the bed with Brooke Cruz. She was immediately arrested, while William was arrested later at work. DNA evidence confirmed that the baby girl was in fact Savanna Greywind's daughter, and she was taken to live with her father. On December 11th of 2017, Brooke Cruz pled guilty to charges of conspiracy to commit murder and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Through her testimony, she cried and apologized to the family for her actions, and eventually explained in detail what happened on the afternoon she invited Savanna up to her apartment. She stated that once she got inside, she immediately instigated an argument with Savanna that turned into a fight in the bathroom. And according to her, she shoved Savanna so hard that she fell and hit her head on the bathroom sink on the way down, knocking her unconscious. Cruz then went into the kitchen, retrieved a knife, and returned to Savanna, where she began cutting into her abdomen. After a while, she was able to cut her open enough to reach inside and pull her baby out of the womb. The entire time, she states that Savanna was drifting in and out of consciousness and delirium due to blood loss. As Brooke was in the process of cleaning up the blood, at some point William returned home to find Cruz holding the newborn baby, telling him, "This is our baby. This is our family." William, seeing Savanna's lifeless body, asked if she was dead, to which Brooke replied, "I don't know. Please help me." After which, according to Brooke, he left the bathroom and returned with a rope that he tightened around Savanna's neck and applied pressure until she was no longer breathing, stating, "If she wasn't dead before, she is now." They stashed her body in a closet in the bathroom and finished cleaning the blood from the floor. What many find strange and baffling is the complete blunder on the part of the police department, with the time frame of the murder being pinpointed to be somewhere between 2 and 3 p.m. How did they miss spotting any kind of evidence by the time they arrived just 2 hours later at 5 p.m.? How careless and half-assed of a search did they complete for Savanna's body to be there the entire time in a closet? William later testified that during 3 different searches from the police, he was there with the baby beneath the cover lying next to him. After the 3rd search, he hollowed out a dresser and threw Savanna's body inside in order to transport it to the Red River and dump her in. On February 2nd of 2018, Brooke Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. William Hohen was originally sentenced to life in prison as well, but the ruling was overturned, and he was resentenced to 20 years in prison after an inmate came forward and testified that Brooke told her that she'd been the one who had actually strangled Savanna to death. In the aftermath, the baby was named Hazley Joe, which was a name picked out by the couple before the untimely demise of Savanna, and she now lives a healthy life with her father, Ashton, unaware of the horror her mother faced and with no memory of the traumatic experience. May the soul and spirit of Savanna Greywind rest in peace.